Welcome to Brahmrishi Vedvyas Path Ancient Wisdom Research Methodology. Today are in 7th step of research methodology of ancient wisdom. Focus is going to be upon Maha, Kaal. Kaal, Vidhi, Vidhan, third phase is about Maha. The first focus has been upon Kram Samapti. The second focus has been upon Kaal, Vidhi, Vidhan, and now as third phase we are at Maha. The formulation Maha leads us to TC value 30, which accepts an organization as 6, 7, 8 and 9, and it is the value of hypercube 8, fourfold manifestation layer of hypercube 8, the representative regular body of 8 space is 30, and it is parallel to the TC value of formulation Sahita. Sahita as such is of the format of hypercube 8, the representative regular body of 8 space, that is of Asht Prakriti. The value 21 as TC value of formulation Maha accepts an organization 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Firstly, it is parallel to the value of a Sthapatya miring rod, and further the value 21 is the TC value of formulation Mrityu, death. In this background, we have to appreciate the Mahakal. Sequentially, we proceed with hypercube 4, the representative regular body of 4 space presided by Lord Brahma as the first step. This manifestation is within 4 space. So, hypercube 4, the representative regular body of 4 space, is manifesting as hypercube 4 within 4 space. The next sequential step is the manifestation of hypercube 5, the representative regular body of Transcendental Lord, and this manifestation as well is within a 4 space. As such, we are sequentially proceeding for the manifestation of the bodies of different spaces within 4 space, accepting it that 4 space is a creator's space. Manifested creations happen within 4 space. 4 space is presided by Lord Brahma, and the representative regular body of 4 space is hypercube 4. The representative regular body of 5 space is hypercube 5, and in continuity we will reach at the representative regular body of a 6 space, that is hypercube 6. Therefore, hypercube 4, hypercube 5 and hypercube 6 are the bodies of 4, 5 and 6 spaces manifesting within 4 space itself. Let us open a new page and start compiling these features of manifested creations within 4 space. Hypercube 4 is the representative regular body of 4 space, and it manifests within 4 space as hypercube 4. So the representative regular body of 5 space is hypercube 5 manifesting within 4 space, and step ahead hypercube 6 is the representative regular body of 6 space manifesting within 4 space. Further, let us see that we can recapitulate that we have been approaching the format of hypercube of 5 within 4 space. So hypercube of 5 is the representative body of 5 space, but its manifestation is within 4 space. Therefore, for transition from hypercube 4 to hypercube 5, our initiation point remains 4 space. We initiate ourselves for transition from hypercube 4 format to hypercube 5 format with initiation point being the 4 space itself. Further, we had seen that 4 space body hypercube 4 as such is of a spatial order, and this spatial order chase is in terms of a formulation Kram Samapti, which is a composition of a pair of formulations, and this pair of formulations are of TC values 13 and 26, and this pair of values 13 and 26 leads us to an organization 1 into 13 and 2 into 13, which means this progression, organization, coordination, mathematics of the formulation Kram Samapti as a pair of formulations is of the form reaching from value 1 to value 2. It is Ekadikain. It is a linear sequential progression of the rule of one more than before. Here we can have a pause and see that taking interval as the representative body of one space and square as the representative regular body of two space, then we will be face to face with a situation that within a square we can reach sequentially with interval and square both. Thus, this square within a square is of different format, features and values than the outer square. Therefore, the inner square and outer square are the concepts which deserves to be comprehended well. It is with this comprehension that we will be in a position to have a proper appreciation as to how hypercube 4, the representative body of 4 space, manifests within 4 space itself. It is this phenomenon of square within a square or manifestation of 4 space body within 4 space which deserves to be comprehended well for having proper appreciation of the Vedic methodology of having transition from creations within 4 space for their reach to the transcendental domain. Further, let us recapitulate that within 5 space with 3 space in the role of a dimension, we have been reaching at the formulation Kaal, Vidhi, Vidhan, which is a composition of triple formulations. Further, the TC values triple 9, 18 and 27 is having the features as much as that 9 is equal to 3 square, that is, it is going to be a format of a spatial order. The pair of dimensions with each dimension being solid is the feature with which this formulation Kaal, Vidhi, Vidhan is having a chase, a reach from 4 space, spatial order, creator space, to 5 space, a solid order, transcendental domain, in terms of a Kram Samapti and Kaal, Vidhi, Vidhan is a comprehension of the Vedic systems which sadhakas anxious and fulfilled with anxiety of urge to be face to face with ancient wisdom research methodology shall be face to face with this pair of formulations, Karma Samapti and Kaal Vidhi Vidhan, with Karma Samapti being a composition of a pair of formulations of values 13 and 26, which with their organization lead us off a step as of a linear progression of one more than before, and further this is also leading us to a feature of a square within a square. Now from this a step ahead, when we reach at Kaal Vidhi Vidhan, then we reach at a composition of triple formulations of values 19, 18 and 27, and these values 19, 18 and 27 when are chased in a pair of phases, pair of steps of values 9 and 18 and 18 and 27, then we see that the first pair of values 9, 18 lead us to 9 into 1 and 9 into 2, which will help us see a linear progression reached by the formulation one more than before. And in case of the second pair of values 28 and 27, it will help us reach at the organization and in 9 into 2 and 9 into 3, and here the reach from 2 to 3 in one way with one feature is that we are reaching from 2 to 2 plus 1, that is again we are applying the linear progression formulation of Ekadhiken Purve. However, the change here is that while the first steps we are reaching from value 1 to 2, in the second step we are reaching from value 2 to 3. It is here where we shall have a pause and see that though the formulation Kaal Vidhi Vidhan permits a split into a pair of phases of pair of values, but the application of the rule of one more than before in the first phase is reaching from 1 to 2, and in the second phase it is a reach from value 2 to 3. Now here we know the middle value is half, while here the middle value is 1.5. We will come to these aspects subsequently while we in the evening session we will be face to face with the application steps of these features. Now a step ahead, we will be reaching at a formulation Maha. Now see, the formulation Maha is of value 30, while formulation Karma Samapti is of value 39, and the formulation Kaal Vidhi Vidhan is of value 54, and these triple values together lead to the summation value 123, which in a way is taking into account in a sequential steps the triple values 1, 2, 3, a unique triple of the whole numbers. Here 3 is the first odd prime, 2 is the only even prime, and 1 is a prime which is not having proper divisor. So this is a triple of non-composite numbers with a uniqueness which is nowhere available in for any other triple of the whole numbers. We will be coming to it subsequently in the evening session when we will be confronted with the applied values, applied applications of these features which are being available and which are being availed by the Vedic systems for a transition from 4 space to 5 space and a step ahead from 5 space to 6 space in terms of triple formulation Karma Samapti, Kaal Vidhi Vidhan and Maha. Now from this background, now let us have a tabulation of these 10 formulations. Brahma of TC value 29, Visphot of TC value 29, Vahan of TC value 28, Vahak of TC value 21, Yoga of TC value 12, Shiv of TC value 12, Vishnu of TC value 25, Dhvani of TC value 29, Triloki of TC value 24, and Trimurti of the TCV value 30. These 10 formulations deserve to be approached in terms of the composition and their TCV values, and when we will be face to face with these formulations, particularly with the formulation Visphot, which is of TC value 29, parallel to the TC value 29 of Brahma, the overlord of fourth space, then we will be knowing as to how the manifested creations of fourth space presided by Lord Brahma, with the idol of Lord Brahma as a formulation Brahma having value 29, parallel to the value 29 of TCV of the formulation Visphot. Therefore, the explosion, Visphot, explosion of manifested creation of the format of the idol of the creator himself is a start with phenomenon of chase, how the manifested creations when exploded. So explosion of the manifested creation. We have to chase a manifested creation starting with its explosion, that means deciphering of its different components. So a manifested creation is split into its components as a phenomenon of explosion. This phenomenon of explosion is of value 29, parallel to the TC value of the formulation Brahma of the Lord Creator himself. Therefore, the Vedic system's chase of the existence phenomenon of our solar universe is that we are having manifested creations of phenomena. We have to chase this manifested creations of phenomenon. We start a chase of this manifested creations of phenomenon with the explosion, the ciphering out of the components of the idol of the creator himself. Now, Lord Brahma is the creator. Formulation Brahma is of TC value 29. As such, we are having a chase of the explosion of the manifested creations as value 29. A step ahead, we know that when we have fabricated, we have deciphered out, we have splitted, we have separated the different components of the idol, of the manifested creation, then we have to carry these things for their reassembling. Now, means we shall have a Vahan, and Vahan is the formulation which is of TC value 28, and it is equal to the value Brahm. Further, we know that the range of 29 points is having 28 gaps. That means though the manifested creation is exploded and made 29 components, but these 29 components at the mundane level stand separated, but at the subtle level these are still stitched together in terms of value 28. Therefore, the value 28 as the value of the 28 gaps of a range of 29 points is a carrier, a Vahan. Therefore, the 29 components split of the idol of Lord Brahma, the overlord of real fourth space, within which there happens to be manifested creations. So, moment there is an explosion, this explosion will amount to disintegration of the manifested creation, and the components of the manifested creations as such, though get segregated on explosion, but otherwise inherently, internally, at the subtle level, at the minute level, still remain integrated in terms of Brahm as a Vahan, as a carrier. So those 29 components of the manifested creations remain within a Vahan, within a Brahman domain. So the Brahman domain as such is there. Now these 29 components, when are within Vahan, then either it is being carried, it is having a Vahak, one who is carrying it. It is value 21. Now we know that value 21 as it is of the formulation Mrityu, a death. Therefore, the Brahman van, which carries the disintegrated component of the manifested creation, is having a Vahak in the form of a Mrityu. So Mrityu or a death as such is a Vahak, is a carrier. So this being carried in this Vahan is the phenomenon which is being carried for what purpose? It is being carried for a yoga, for reassembling. Now this reassembly of the disintegrated components is a phenomenon which will take us to value 12, which means it is parallel to the TC value Shiva. Therefore, the manifested creation, a creation of a force space on its disintegration, is carried to the transcendental domain to a Lord Shiva. So, manifested creation, the creations are created by Lord Brahma, the overlord of a force space, on their disintegration are being carried by the Brahm as a Vahan with death as a carrier, and these are taken to the transcendental domain where these are assembled again. There happens to be yoga. It is this feature, it is this phenomenon which deserves to be comprehended by the sadhakas who are fulfilled with intensity of urge to chase the ancient wisdom research methodology along the Brahma Rishi Vedvyas path. So the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be face to face with the ancient wisdom research methodology format features of the Brahma Rishi Vedvyas path shall sit comfortably and be face to face with Maha, Kaal, the death of a death. This is this eternity, it is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. For it, we have to sequentially proceed from hypercube 4 to hypercube 5, and thereafter we have to proceed to hypercube 6. Before we proceed further, let us revisit the formulation Visphot. The formulation Visphot is a composition of 7 letters. Therefore, this decomposition or explosion of the manifested creation as such is going to be of 7 steps. These 7 steps are of the value TCV values of the 7 letters being availed for the composition of the formulation Visphot. The 7 letters being availed for the composition of the formulation Visphot are Va, E, Sa, Fa, O, Ta and A. These 7 letters of formulation Visphot are of TC values 7, 2, 3, 6, 7, 3 and 1. Now it is this 7 steps long composition, arrangement, organization is taking us to a values range which permit organization, and it is this organization which is to be followed. And let us put these 7 steps values along a circumference of a circle. Now the circumference of a circle as such be taken as of 7 phases. Let us divide the circumference into 7 parts, and this division shall be of 29 units. Of these 29 units, let us take 1 unit at the first step, then take 3 units at the second step, followed by 7 units at the third step, 6 units at the fourth step, and then we shall have 3 units at the fifth step, 2 units at the sixth step, and finally 7 steps at the seventh step. Now, with this organization, this split of the circumference as 29 units with the values range as 1, 3, 7, 6, 3, 2, and 7. Let us see this organization of the circumference as it is leading us to a situation that we can have a chase. It in fact is being heavy chased by the Vedic systems, which is called a Divya Ganga Pravaha. It is this Divya Ganga Pravaha along the components, artifices of soul syllable Om. Now, Bindu Sarovar, which is of value 9, the Bindu Sarovar of value 9 as Nav Brahm is having 7 streams flow as 7 space playing the role of dimension of 9 space. Now, this 7 streams flow as such has a split for a 3 streams towards the west, 3 streams towards the east, and the central stream proceeding ahead. Now, this organization as such, a first component of value 1, second component of value 2, third component of value 3, fourth components of value 4, but the Divya Ganga Pravaha along it is from this first 2 second is of 7 streams. It gives us this flow triple 1, 7, 2. Further, we know that these 7 streams go at the next step as of 3 streams and then of 1 stream. So this gives us a value as such of 1, 3, and 7. So initially we have got 1, 7, and 2. Further we have got 1, 3, and 7. And further we see that this organization of second component and split of the 2 leads us to value 2, 3, and 6. So we are having 1, 7, and 2. We are having 7, 3, and 1. And also we are having 2, 3, and 6. See, this organization of the Divya Ganga Pravaha along the soul syllable of the 4 components as such is organizing the Visphot, the explosion of the manifested creations as such results into a Divya Ganga Pravaha. Therefore, the explosion of the manifested creations is being carried by the Brahm in a form of Vahaka, of carrier of a Mrityu, a death, and this is being taken to the transcendental domain of Lord Shiva, 5-head Lord, for a yoga, for reassembling. Manifested creation, its disintegration, disintegrated components, organs of manifested created body to be taken by the Brahm to the transcendental domain for its reassembly. Manifested creations, explosion, disintegration into the organs to be carried by the Brahm with death, Mrityu as a Vahaka to the transcendental domain for its reassemble. Now, manifested creation, disintegration, and it to be carried for its reassembly. These are the features which deserve to be comprehended well by the sadhakas, and it is by comprehension of this only one may feel that one is face to face with the ancient wisdom research methodology of the existence phenomenon of our solar universe, may it be within frames or may it be without frames. Moment we are face to face with this, then we can see that the polygon 4 as such, having only a single diagonal, internal diagonal, while the polygon 5 is having a pair of diagonals and polygon 3 is having triple diagonals. Now, polygon 4 of value 4 is leading us to a single internal diagonal from each corner. Value 5 is leading us to a pair of diagonals flow from each corner. Polygon 6 is leading us to triple diagonals flow. This feature as such as value 123 will take us to the value of 30 of Maha, Kaal, 39 of Kram Samapti, and 54 of Kaal, Vidhi, Vidhan. Further, the polygon 4 is having a interaction at the center, means both the internal diagonals pass through the center. However, in case of polygon 5, none of the diagonals is passing through the center of the internal polygon. Here there is a complete seal, but here polygon 5 is having internal polygon 5, and the internal polygon 5 as such is of format features that none of the internal diagonals passes through the center. A step ahead, polygon 6 is providing us a flow of a triple diagonals from each corner. However, the internal hex polygon 6 as it is permitting a flow for only 3 out of the 6 diagonals. Now it is this feature that only half number of the diagonals as these are passing through the center, while the remaining diagonals are not passing through the center. These features as these are, which will help us appreciate and comprehend mathematics, science and technology of the Vedic systems, of the Sthapatya miring rod, and of the manifestation within Vishnu Lok and Divya Ganga flow, taking us to the transcendental domain, and the manifestation on its explosion and disintegration gets reunited because of the transcendental bliss. With it now, when we will have a split for domain phenomenon, then we will know the split of 1 is in 2, and then a value 5, then a value is 12, and then is 29. We know a 5 space with 12 components value of Lord Shiva, and value 29 as the transcendental value of the Lord Brahma. A step ahead is of value 70, and it is this value which will help us appreciate 12 for Lord Shiva, 29 for Brahma, and 25 for Lord Vishnu. This makes a value 66, and this happening, all this phenomenon happening within a 4 space, providing us value 4, and therefore this reach at value 70 at the 5th step of the split of a domain is the phenomenon which deserves to be comprehended well, as ultimately the manifestation, disintegration, and reunion is the phenomenon which remains confined within force space with the transcendental base. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled the intensity of urge to chase the existence phenomenon of our solar universe as manifesting within force space and having a transcendence therefrom for the transcendental domain gets into a cyclic order, and it is this cyclic order of creation, disintegration, and recreation. It is this life, death, and life. It is from seed, tree, and back to seed is the chase which the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to follow shall sit comfortably and to approach for enlightenment, to provide consciousness base for the intelligence field, and with it one will be in a position to have appreciation of the cyclic orders of the existence phenomenon. Thank you very much.